down if you are having any pen with you. The module 1 will be covering the number systems, the Boolean logic, the number conversions. Module 1 will cover number systems, Boolean logic, number conversions, code conversions, basic gates, universal gates.
So
Okay.
code conversion then.
Okay. Let me again reiterate. Number 1 is the number system, Boolean logic, code conversion, number conversion, basic gates, universal gates, basic gates, then universal gates, then sum of product, product of sum implementation, max term, min term implementation, and K-map solving. Now, in the K-map solving, 2 variable, 3 variable, and 4 variable. We will not be providing with 5 variable. I will not be providing any question from the 5 variable K-map, but 2, 3, and 4 variable K-map problems may be there in your examination. Okay, so that's from the module 1. Module 2, from the module 2, all the things that I have taught you in the combinational logic. Combinational logic starting from basic half adder, full adder, up subtractor, full subtractor, then multiplexer, demultiplexer, BCD adder, then decoder, encoder, priority encoder, parity generator, parity checker, magnitude comparator, and the last day's class, that means use of multiplexer as different logic circuits, and today's class use of decoder as different circuits.
Sir, after parity checker and generator.
Magnitude comparator, that means the comparator.
So can you please repeat after
Sir, what was
universal
the
gates
today's
what you
topic?
said?
Sir? Today's class is use of decoder as logic circuit.
Excuse me, sir.
Okay, let me again explain all the terms that I have told you in the. Please check whether you have written or not in the combinational logic part. Number 1 is the half adder, full adder, up subtractor, full subtractor, BCD adder, then multiplexer, demultiplexer, decoder, encoder, priority encoder, magnitude comparator, parity generator, parity checker, magnitude comparator, if I have not told that earlier. And then use of multiplexer as logic circuit, use of decoder as logic circuit,
Sir.
Yes, Ankur.
Sir, in previous class we have done, sir, the priority checker, not the
Priority.
use of multiplexer and logic
Okay, okay.
circuit.
So we'll be covering that today. So we'll be
Okay, sir.
covering that today because we are getting another week of class. Another 2 weeks of class we are getting. So what we will do, we will complete the decoder part up to decoder part. That means use of decoder as logic circuit. We will complete that by in the end of next week. And after that, we will have another 2 weeks of time remaining before the midterm starts. So if we get those theoretical classes, we will be recapitulating all the classes. Now there is a provision that one of two of classes that I take in your each one of the sections. SKG sir may start sequential logic design parallelly with me. SKG sir may start his classes because he is also assigned with these classes. So those who are joining now, please make sure that you are joining within 9:35 from the next day. Otherwise, I'll not let you in because I have not started teaching. That's why I'm letting you enter. But from the next day, please make sure that you are entering within 9:35. So SKG sir, if he takes one classes in each one of the week from next week, then I'll be teaching or I'll be recapitulating the things that we have learned so far throughout these two modules, so that we can have a much more understanding of the things that we have studied. Okay.
Sir, there's a query. So
Hmm.
actually, some of the videos in the YouTube channel are private. So,
For my videos that I have taken or classes that I have taken in YouTube, those all classes are not private. I mean, those all videos are public. You can go to my channel, you can go to my playlist, and you can find. And I was thinking because of this Google Meet, someone was calling me in the last day, and he asked me that his mother is suffering from corona. That's why he couldn't do the classes. So I was also thinking that if I can record these Google Meets also and keep them in my YouTube channel, so that before the examination starts, you can have the recapitulation. So I can do that, but it's not decided yet, or I have not finally decided that whether I will do it or not. But if you do the Google Meet classes, that's okay. And all my previous classes that I have taken in YouTube Live, that all are present in my YouTube channel. I don't know about other teachers. Maybe some of them has made them private. Majority of them made them private, but I don't generally like to keep those. Anytime, if you want to, you can view those for your clarification. Like all my lab classes are also there in the YouTube class. Okay, so you can find all my classes there, previous classes there. But I'll be asking you not to ask anything today because we are already running late. So it's already 20 minutes past. Let us start with. So I believe you can see the PPT that I am sharing, right?
yes, sir.
Okay. So let's start. Just okay. So let me just start today's. Okay. So as you already said that I have not.
This call is now being recorded.
We'll be starting with this one. So this is the thing we will be learning today, the multiplexer to implement a full adder. Now one very productive thing about multiplexer is that it's a very unique circuit. What do we know as a multiplexer? It's a many to one circuit by means of its operations. So a multiplexer can be either 2 to 1, or it can be of 4 is to 1, or it can be of 8 to 1, or it can be of 16 is to 1, where there are n number of select lines and there is a single output that is coming out from every multiplexer, no matter what is the input number of line, but the multiplexer output will always be providing a single. So it's a many to one converter circuit, and that many to one converter is basically provided with the provision of a switch which is sharing between all the possible input to the output, and that switch is controlled by the select lines or the control line. Sometimes we call that as a control line, sometimes we call as a select line. So for this thing we have learned Now, if you understand, if the n is our number of select lines, n is the number of select lines, let us write as SL, select lines, then twice to the power n becomes our input lines, right? So for our case, if n equals to 2, like the way we have designed, so our select line is 2, then the total number of inputs that the multiplexer will accommodate is becomes twice to the power n, that means 4. Twice to the power 2, that means 4. So it's a 4 is to 1 multiplexer. If we talk about 3 select lines, say a multiplexer having 3 select lines, that will have 8 input lines and 1 output line. Then if we talk about a 4 selection lines, then there will be 16 possible input lines and 1 output line. The output remains 1 as it is, and that rotating switch or virtual rotating switch basically changes its place to connect between any one of the input to its output, right? So that's the way the multiplexer works, and decided by these two selection lines, which one of the input will be connecting to the output, that is decided in a multiplexer. So that's the basic operation of a multiplexer is. Now, one very advantage, like I said earlier, that one very productive thing about multiplexer is that it can implement any Boolean logic circuit. It can implement, if you have a Boolean logic circuit like ABC plus A bar BC plus A B C bar or something like that, whatever it is, A bar A B bar C, something like that, a multiplexer can be used to implement that. We know that if we want to implement this logic circuit, what we need to do? We need to take 3 lines, then take the complementary values of those lines, and then find out A and A bar, B and B bar, then connect accordingly. So A, B, C will be connected via a AND gate, something like this. Then they will be connected. Then A bar B C will be taken into account. Another line will be connecting from 3 of the inputs, and it will be connected to an AND gate, and it will produce a line like this, and then finally that will come through a OR gate to create the final output. So that's the normal way of representing a logic circuit. But the multiplexers are much more easier. The multiplexer is a very peculiar circuit which can be used also to represent this circuit. Okay, so how do we do that? We do that by taking into account of the selection lines and the input lines that are being provided. Okay, let's discard this part so that we can start understanding. So I am not going to discuss about the truth table here, but rather try to understand how the multiplexer basically operates. So we have a Boolean function which is represented by means of the min terms. Let's say has 1, 3, 6 and 7. So we need to implement that using a Boolean logic circuit. So that means minterm number 1, 3, 6 and 7. These 4 are given, and these all are minterms and their values are 1. And we need to implement that minterm based on the circuit provided. So sometimes you will also get these types of equation to in a question where simplification of K-map is also required. You may get this question as a simplification of K-map, where you need to prepare the K-map and you need to put 1 in the places which is written there, 1, 3, 6 and 7. Then you can also simply try to simplify the values based on those pairings or pairs and coords and octets and something like that, and then create the final preparation. But here we are looking at the function, and we are trying to implement that function by not using the normal Boolean basic gates, or not by using the simplification method, but rather using a multiplexer. How can we do that? We can do that by looking at the function itself. So the primary criteria, or the primary thing that we can do, is to find out the maximum value of the minterm that is given in our Boolean logic or Boolean function that is provided. So you can see 1, 3, 6 and 7, out of which 7 is the maximum value that is provided there. Now, if we take about twice to the power n, which is greater than equal to 7, or rather greater than close to equal to 7, what the value we are getting? So it means if we take about twice to the power 3, it becomes 8. Or if we take twice to the power 2, it becomes 4. So if we think in the multiplexer way, like the twice to the power n number of inputs, or the twice to the power uh, n as a possible values, we get to see twice to the power 2 means 4 and twice to the power 3 means 8. What we will do, what we can see from this equation is that its maximum value is 7 and 7's adjacent value of n becomes 8. That means it's a 3 variable function. Up to 7 we can accommodate by using a 3 variable function. How can we accommodate that? We can accommodate that by means of taking 3 individual variables and their values can be taken as 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 0, 1, 1, 1, 0, 0, 1, 0, 1, 1, 1, 0 and 1, 1, 1. So if we can decimal equivalent values, we can write 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. So you can see that 0 to 7 can be accommodated. The function 0 to 7 can be accommodated. All those individual minterms can be accommodated by means of a 3 variable equation. So this function is basically a 3 variable function that has been given to us. What when I am trying to implement using a multiplex, right? Well,
Sir, can you please repeat the solution again because I
I am
lost
not
track.
okay. So what I said is that we will try to find out how many variables can be used or how many minimum number of variables that can be used to implement the function, right? So we can see that 1, 3, 6 and 7. So up to 7 is given and we know from the logic of the binary that 7 can be accommodated by means of use of 3 individual variables. So if we take a look at all the different minterms that are possible using 3 variables, we can write down this truth table. Let me just hide this part. So ABC can be made to use the minterms starting from 0 to the 7, and you can obviously see that the values 1, 3, 6 and 7 falls within those. So this is the value 1, then 3, then 6 and then 7. So these 4 values have been given in our function, which are representing a value of 1, keeping all other values 0. So except for those 4 minterms, all other values are basically 1 in this function. I mean, except for those functions, all other values are basically 0, not 1, but rather all other values are 0. Okay, so জিজ্ঞাসা করেছিস, আমি একবারও বলিনি কাল থেকে ক্লাস নেবে, তুই বার যে কথা বলে লাভ তো নেই। স্যার বলছি এসকেজি স্যার কাল থেকে ক্লাস নেবে, আমি বললাম কাল থেকে নেবে। If he takes class, you will find out yourself. The day you will be start taking your class, from the day I'll inform you before that, but not before I inform you that from tomorrow there will be taking classes. Okay, don't speculate anything that I have not told you. If he takes class, then I'll be sharing the another class, but he has not talked to me regarding the day he will be taking classes from. So what I said is that apart from these 4 values, all other values are 0. Now, if we want to use this function to be implemented by a multiplexer, what we will do? We will do is by taking an equation like twice to the power n minus 1 to be the input lines of the multiplexer. Think this one very carefully. So twice to the power n minus 1 to be the input lines, where n is the number of variables.
স্যার আগের লাইনে 2 টু দি পাওয়ার 3টা কিভাবে এলো একটু বলবেন?
আমি দেখছিলাম যে এই 8টা থেকে আমি কত দিয়ে অ্যাকোমোডেট করতে পারি। ওই যে 7th আছে, এটা আমি কত ভ্যালু দিয়ে পর্যন্ত অ্যাকোমোডেট করতে পারি। এখানে আমি লিখেছিলাম 2 টু দি পাওয়ার 2 হলে আসছে 4, তাহলে আমি 4টে মিনটার্মকে অ্যাকোমোডেট করতে পারবো। এখানে এলো 2 টু দি পাওয়ার 3 এলে আমি টোটাল 8টা মিনটার্মকে অ্যাকোমোডেট করতে পারবো। যার মধ্যে কিনা আমার এই 7th মিড টার্ম বা 7th বা ম্যাক্সিমাম 7 নাম্বারের মিড টার্মটা অ্যাকোমোডেট করা যেতে পারে। আমি যদি
ঠিক আছে।
বুঝতে পেরেছিস, আমি যদি
হ্যাঁ
ওই সব কটা মিন টার্মকে অ্যাকোমোডেট করাতে চাই তাহলে আমার এই এইখানের এনটা কত হতে হবে, ঠিক আছে? তার জন্য আমি এটা 3 ভ্যারিয়েবল ফাংশন না 2 ভ্যারিয়েবল ফাংশন না 4 ভ্যারিয়েবল ফাংশন আমি সেইটা দেখার চেষ্টা করছি। Obviously, it can be 4 variable A, B, C, D. We can also accommodate 16 number of possible min terms, but we will stick to the minimum number of variable that can be used to accommodate all the min terms that are provided in our functions. Okay, that's why we came to this particular 8 value, and we have written those 8 number of truth tables. Okay, that is why. But when I am trying to implement that using multiplexer, what we will do, we will take the n to the total number of variable hoy, then our multiplexer will have a select line number of n minus 1. The multiplexer which will be used to represent this function, the equation will satisfy these three conditions. If n is the number of variables, how many number of variables are there? 3, 1, 2 and 3. If n is the number of variables, then the multiplexer I will be creating will have a n minus 1 number of select lines. And this is only applicable for this problem or these types of problem that we will be implementing. That means use of multiplexer to implement any logical function. So n minus 1 becomes the select line numbers, and you can see our n is 3 for our case, A, B and C 3. Then n minus 1 becomes 2. Then the input lines of the multiplexer becomes twice to the power 3 minus 1. That means twice to the power 2 means 4. So we require a multiplexer of 4 input lines, 2 select lines, as you can already see n minus 1 represents 2, and 1 output lines. That is the basic requirement of our multiplexer that we came to know from use of these functions, use of this number of variables, and plotting them using these three different functions or these three different formulas that we have created for representing the multiplexer. Okay, so what it will require is a 4:1 multiplexer. Then how do we create the final value of the inputs and the outputs? So what we require, we know that the output will be the function's output, that let y becomes the function of this one, then y becomes the output. But what about these inputs? What will be provided at these inputs and what will be provided at the select lines of this multiplexer? What we will be doing is take the lower significant bits of our truth table. So this is our truth table that I am actually referring to. It's a 3 variable truth table. What we will do, we will look forward to the value which is changing least amount of time. Out of those 3 variables in our truth table, we will try to find out the variable which is changing least amount of time. So see, you can see it's changing 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1. So out of 8 possible terms, it's changing 4 times. 8 times. It's changing its value 8 times between 0 and 1, 0 and 1, 0 and 1. Whereas B is changing 4 times, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, 0, 1, 1. So it's changing 4 times. Whereas A is changing only 2 times, either 0, 0, 0, 0 or 1, 1, 1, 1. So it's changing between 2 times. For first half or the first 4 iteration, it's remaining as 0. For the next 4 terms, it's remaining as 1. Okay, so this makes the value or this makes the decision of our min term. As you can see that apart from A, the BC is basically creating the same set of values that was in the upper part or in the lower part itself. So if we take this one as upper part and this one as lower part, you will find that BC changes between 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0 and 1, 1. Again changes from 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0 and 1, 1. So BC is creating a replica between two of the individual areas, either upper part or the lower part, only thing which is changing is the value of A, which is either 0 or 1. But the BC value when it's 0, A can have a value of 0. BC value when it's 0, A can have a value of 1. Once we understand this, then what we will do, we will take the multiplexer. Let me just clear out the main part of our. Okay, so I believe so far you have understood. If you are having any question, you can always ask. So in our multiplexer that we are creating, we have a 4 input, 2 select lines, and in simple value, we will take the values which are getting replicated for the two sets, for the upper set and for the lower set. So we'll take those variable values as our select lines. So we'll take B and C to be our select lines for the 4:1 multiplexer that we are trying to prepare. Okay. We'll not be taking the A because for two different values of A, here A is having a value of 0, here A is having a value of 1, but they are not similar to each other, whereas B and C is actually changing between similar values. So the first value is 0 0, then 0 1, then 1 0, and then 1 1. So we can consider this one to be a folding value of the B and C that is actually preparing. Once we have found that, let's fully clear the presentation so that you can understand very clearly. Uh, Let me take the pointer. So our multiplexer is this one. The two inputs are B and C. This is our Y. Once we have figured out this one, then we need to find out what should be the value of these input lines. As we have already taken the B and C as the selection lines or the select lines of the multiplexer, which variable is remaining for us to implement? The A's. A variable is remaining. A variable we have not used in this multiplexer for the representation. So we'll try to implement any single value of A in or different iterations of A in all the input lines so that our equation becomes complete. How do we do that? As because it's a 4:1 multiplexer and you can see that the BC value gets repeated for 4 of the times, or rather 0 0 0 0. Okay. Let me just again write it in the proper format. So 0 1 0 1 1 0 1 0 1 1 1 1. So these are the 4 values that automatically gets repeated. 1 for A equals to 0, 1 for A equals to 1. To represent that, we create 4 input values for the values of B and C as 0 0 0 1 1 0 and 1 1. How do we create that? Let's say these are the input lines as D0, D1, D2 and D3. These 4 input lines. So let me write it down as D0, D1, D2 and D3. So we create a row of D0, D1, D2 and D3 and we break them in different columns. Next, what we try to do, we see that you can consider these to be the values of 0 0, 0 1, 1 0 and 1 1. These one are the 4 values of the related operations. D0 comes out when BC is 0 0, D1 comes out when BC is 0 1, D2 comes out when BC is D2 or 1 0, and D3 comes out at the output when the value of BC is 1 1. Now obviously you can see when BC is having a value of 0 0, A can have two different values, either 0 and 1. To represent that, I will write down two different values of A as A bar and A, because for both the cases A can be either 0 or A can be either 1. I believe you have you can recall the truth table that I drawed in the last case, right? So in that case, for representation of A as 0 to, I write it as A bar, and representation of 1 of A, I write at A. Then what we need to do? We need to find out all the min terms that was there in our equation that we had started value 0. We again write down the 1, 1, 0, 0, 1, 0, 1. So out of these, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. দাঁড়া তোকে ক্লাস থেকে বেরিয়ে ফোন করছি। So 7 values, you can see that for 4 values, A is having a value of 0. That 4 values are represented by means of 0, 1, 2, and 3. Next 4 values where A is having a value of 1, those 4 values are represented as 4, 5, 6, and 7. Now you are getting the clarity. So this is 0, 0. You can see that 0, 0, 0 is having a value of the first one. This is basically 0th term. This is 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4, this is 5, this is 6, and this is 7. So these is almost like a K map, but rather a folded K map that we are drawing to represent or to accommodate that in our multiplexer. So erase those values. So we know that this is a folding value that we are getting. Now you can consider this truth table has been folded into 2 based on 2 values of A bar and A, right? So once we have got this one, let's have a and look back at the function that we had taken. So the function, if I can recall, it was 1, 3, 6, and 7, right? If not, then you can again tell me what was the value I took.
Sir, it is correct.
Okay, thank you. So the values where the function was represented by means of those min terms, I'll try to put those values as 1 in our table. So 1, 3, 6, and 7. So this is 0. A bar multiplied by D0, that is the 0th term. I'll not touch that at this moment. So this is 1 term. So 1, I'll put at 1 because 1 is already present in our function. Then 2 is not there. Then 3 is not there. Then 5 is the lower part. So if we can break that area into 2 different parts, then 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 is not there. 5 is this one. So we will be writing that as 5, or rather not 5 because 5 is not present in our function. So 5 will not be there, also not be writing that. Then about 6 and 7. So this becomes 6 and 7. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So these are the value whose values have been represented. I have not written 3, right? So 3. 0, 1, 2, 3, 6, and 7. So these values are 1 based on the function that is provided in our equation. Then what about the rest of the values? I just put 0 in those values. 0, 0, and 0. Okay. Now the final output for each one of the input, that the input of D0 will be provided with, come to the lower place. This is, so far we have just described the full function in our multiplexer table. What I will be writing in the lower part, that will be provided at the input of each one of the D0, D1, D2, and D3. How do we create the final value? If both A bar and A, that means in 2 of the cells, if we get 0, then we directly write as 0. If 2 of the cells are having a value of 0. But for the next case, I can see that A bar has a value of 1, whereas A has a value of 0. So the value which is provided with 1 I'll simply write that, so that A bar becomes our case. There I write down, because it was associated with 1, I write down as A bar. Then for the next part, I can see that A is associated with 1. Now A bar is associated with 0. So I write down as A. And the last part is 1 and 1. When both of them are 1, then I simply write down as 1. So these are the 4 values that will be provided in our multiplexer. So let's go back to the multiplexer again and try to figure out what should we provide at the input of the multiplexer itself. So these 4 values, the starting one with D0, you can directly provide 0 to this particular place. Then next one will be provided with A bar. Then the next one will be provided with A, and the last one will be provided with 1, and that creates the total 4:1 multiplexer that implements the function. So this function is implemented by this multiplexer via the use of 3 individual variables A, B and C. So in some cases, this 0 and 1 is represented by means of the ground or VDD connection also. You can directly write them as VGG or something like that. So you can also represent this one to be as ground, as because it was representing 0, or you can write down as VCC to represent that it is connected to the direct VCC line or the plus 5 volt line of the circuit. So this way you can directly implement that, or you can directly write it as 0 and 1. In the next step, what we will be finding is that the same way we can implement any logical function if we want to, whether it's a full adder, whether it's a half adder, whether it's a full subtractor, half subtractor, magnitude comparator or any other circuit. If we know the functional values, if we know the Boolean expressions or the variable and their truth table, then I can implement the multiplexer by means of use of this what I can say, use of this diagram for the multiplexer itself. Okay, so that's it for today. I'll share this PPT once the class ends in your Telegram group. Let me just provide the attendance link so that you can give you attendance. So I pasted the attendance link in your chat box. You can copy and paste it. I'll be keeping that for 10 minutes. Please don't let any other people who are not uh, basically attending the class to make them fill up this one, because in that way you are actually assisting your friends in a thing which they are not getting any facility from that, or they are not getting any positive productive thing that from that filling up the attendance sheet only. It's not going to create anything extraordinary achievement. Let them attend the class. Thank you for joining. So we'll be discussing more on this multiplexer part and more on this decoder and multiplexer part in our next class. Thank you very much.